Hello everybody and welcome to the Canadian Grand Prix and the Friday practice review. Wasn't really much of a session outside, but FP2 certainly delivered in the shock factor. Lewis Hamilton hitting the wall and missing most of the session, only completing 8 laps. It certainly was a practice day to remember. But let's just see where we are on the calendar and the state of the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship coming in to the 7th round of the year. We move away from Monte Carlo across the pond to North America for round 7, the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. The 7th stop on our calendar, Mercedes have dominated the 6 races so far, 4 for Hamilton and 2 for Bottas. 2 weeks time and we're at the French Grand Prix at Le Castellet, then it's Austria, halfway the season at the British Grand Prix, Germany, Hungary, the summer break, followed by then we go to Belgium, Italy, the flyaway, Singapore, Russia, Japan, then the Americas, Mexico, USA and Brazil, and wrapping up the season on December the 1st in Abu Dhabi for what hopefully will be a duel in the desert. In the Drivers' Championship, Lewis Hamilton leads the way, 137 points. 17 points back is Valtteri Bottas. With a second place in Monaco, Sebastian Vettel now moves up to 3rd ahead of Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc 5th with a massive points gap to Pierre Gasly. 7th for Sainz, and then if you look further down the order, no points for Russell or Kubica. Mercedes lead the Constructors' Championship from Scuderia Ferrari by well over 100 points. Victory in all 6 races, it's going Mercedes' way. Rocket Williams Racing still with no points on the board. The battle for 6, 7, 8 and 9 is strong. So let's get into the first practice report then that took place on Friday morning here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve on the Ile Notre Dame, and it is the 50th Canadian Grand Prix this year. I know, it's fantastic, isn't it? And it started with Mercedes with an early advantage in Montreal as Hamilton and Bottas led a 1-2 for the team. They got off to a good start in the first practice session in a new power unit as well. Both Mercedes having a brand new power unit after their first one did the 6 races necessary. They've now got a new package that should take them all the way until the end of round 12, which, guess what? It's just for the summer break as the Hungarian Grand Prix, a circuit we know Lewis goes well at. He also goes well here also goes well here at Montreal at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Now, Bottas was just 0.147 seconds behind his teammate Lewis Hamilton in the first session, although his session did end early, about 5 minutes before the end. He came on the radio saying that he has a fuel pressure issue, the car crabbing its way back to the pit lane down the run between the hairpin at turn 10 all the way to the bus stop chicane he had to get back to, so it's a long kilometre straight. So not great at all for Valtteri Bottas. Although it appears there was more pace in the locker for both the Monegasque and teammate Sebastian Vettel. So Charles Leclerc and Vettel ended 5th. Did Vettel, the two Ferraris sandwiched between the Red Bulls and Max Verstappen, who was 0.988 off Hamilton as well. But the top 5 of the session, Lewis Hamilton on a 1:12.767, followed by Valtteri Bottas 2nd, Charles Leclerc 3rd, Max Verstappen 4th, and Sebastian Vettel in 5th place. There were spins as well for Vettel at the hairpin at turn 10, just came round, missed the apex, locked the rears, and spun round, and it's incredibly dusty at this circuit as well at the moment because they haven't cleaned it since last year, and they've also built a new pit complex. It's incredibly dusty on the start and finish straight in the pit lane, and it's incredibly dusty around the back straight as it hasn't been swept in a year. So not great news for all the drivers having these little spins down there. Romain Grosjean had one down at turn 6 as well, that famous corner, both where Olivier Panis crashed, and of course back in 2011, the greatest ever race in my opinion, 4 hours 4 minutes, certainly the longest race ever. Sebastian Vettel went wide and Jenson Button went through to win the race. Antonio Giovinazzi as well misjudged turn number 8 before rotating his C38 into the turn 9 wall, puncturing the left rear tyre, damaging the wheel and possibly the suspension, giving the mechanics a good hunk of work to do before free practice 2. That brought out the virtual safety car, not the red flag, to everybody's surprise that it wasn't called out, but the car in a dangerous place, the virtual safety car called, and the marshals just pushed it off the track. No harm done. As I said, virtual safety car was called as well. Kimi Raikkonen, his teammate, ended up in the midfield battle going for P6 for Alfa Romeo. A further 4 teams round out the last 4 positions in top 10 as well. They were Carlos Sainz 7th and 8th as well. Daniel Ricciardo, Sergio Perez P9, and has Kevin Magnussen in 10th place as well. Pierre Gasly had a pretty much an interesting session. He ended up down in 13th place as well. Frenchman appeared to struggle with confidence in his RB15, but all going well. And the local hero Lance Stroll finished down in P17 for Racing Point at their home race as well. Let's take a look at the times then from the first practice session at the Canadian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton tops the first practice session in the Canadian Grand Prix, a 1:12.767. Valtteri Bottas, his teammate, is second, a 1:12.914. Charles Leclerc is third, a 1:13.720. Max Verstappen fourth, a 1:13.755. Sebastian Vettel is fifth on a 1:13.905. Kimi Raikkonen sixth, a 1:13.945. Carlos Sainz is seventh, a 1:13.973. Daniel Ricciardo 8th, a 1:14.123, Sergio Perez 9th, a 1:14.172, and Kevin Magnussen rounding out the top 10 on a 1:14.202. Lando Norris is 11th on a 1:14.246, Nico Hülkenberg is 12th, a 1:14.474, followed by Pierre Gasly is 13th, a 1:14.570, Antonio Giovinazzi 14th, a 1:14.582, Romain Grosjean 15th on a 1:14.645, Alexander Albon 16th, a 1:14.703, Lance Stroll is 17th on a 1:14.812, Danny Kvyat 18th, a 1:15.343, George Russell 19th, a 1:15.989, and Nicholas Latifi, who is on his Friday practice drive for Rocket Williams Racing, is 20th and last on a 1:16.109. And let's go on to the free practice 2 report that took place on Friday afternoon. And what a turnaround. Mercedes a 1-2 in the morning. In the afternoon, Ferrari on a 1-2 as well. It was Charles Leclerc topping the session from Sebastian Vettel in second. But as Hamilton hit the wall, coming out of turn 9 as well. Ferrari struck a blow to rivals Mercedes in the second practice session for the Canadian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc leading a 1-2 for the Scuderia, 0.074 seconds ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Bottas was third as well for Mercedes, just 0.134 seconds back as well. The results will be a relief to both Ferrari fans and the team itself as well, as the SF 90 seemingly able to play its strengths at the fast and hot Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Not bad at all, actually, after we were worrying that in the morning it was 9/10 of a second the gap the Mercedes had over the field. We were worried, oh, this is their new engine, it's even more reliable, it's now pulled out a second. No, Ferrari have turned it up and they have got the advantage at the moment on Friday afternoon. They had initially looked set to be the case here too after Hamilton headed FP1 from the leading Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, but Hamilton's elation on Friday morning in Montreal turned to despair by the afternoon when having set the provisional fastest time, the 6-time Canadian Grand Prix winner came out of turn 9 and just sort of got oversteer on the car and hit the wall with the rear and broke the suspension. And the tyre didn't fall off, it managed to stay on, but broke the suspension, put him out of FP2. He only completed 8 laps in total, so terrible news for Lewis Hamilton. As I said, it managed to link back to the pit lane as well. There was little doubt Hamilton's car would be put right for the end of the session, but there is good news that his car will be back for free practice 3 tomorrow morning. Ahead of him, a mega lap from the McLarens in front. We had Carlos Sainz, who finished 4th after he was called his best Friday of the year, he said. That's then followed by The prospects for midfield look full in qualifying for McLaren. Kevin Magnussen also impressive 5th for Haas as well, although the Dane was nearly 4/10 off of Carlos Sainz's effort. One team who were able to show their true hand were Red Bull. Max Verstappen was getting spooked by slow-moving Pierre Gasly on his push lap and clouting the wall of champions. He becomes the first person to do so in 2019. So Verstappen already into the wall of champions. So if you had that on your bingo card, exit, you've got it. Didn't cause him too much damage himself. Gasly continued to look uncomfortable behind the wheel of the car. Endured a severe lockups as well. He ended up just one position ahead of where he did in FP1 in P12, and he was one place ahead of Verstappen, who ended, as I said, 13th, second off the pace. Rounding out the top 10 were the 2 Racing Points. What a change around that made. And the 2 Renaults of Sergio Perez at the head of that battle, P7, with the Renault pair of Daniel Ricciardo 8th and 9th, and Lance Stroll in 10th place as well. Although Stroll may have some strife coming his way on Friday evening, the stewards set to investigate an incident where he appeared to move over on the Haas of Romain Grosjean coming in to the turns 13-14 chicane next to the champions wall. They were going side by side. They were going side by side. Then all of a sudden, Lance just comes in and touches the front wheel of Romain, forcing Romain to go over the escape road, I might add. Meanwhile, having gone 6th this morning, less impressive afternoon for Kimi Raikkonen and Alfa Romeo. 16th for Raikkonen, 1.365 off Leclerc's time. Giovinazzi was 18th as well, ahead of the 2 Williamses of Russell and Kubica. The Italian having had his gearbox replaced as a precaution after his first FP1 shunt. It was an interesting Friday. As we see, Ferrari had the advantage, but let's see where everybody else failed with their times from the second session. So Charles Leclerc tops the second practice session then at the Canadian Grand Prix, a 1:12.177. His teammate Sebastian Vettel is second on a 1:12.251. Valtteri Bottas is third on 1:12.311, followed by Carlos Sainz in fourth on 1:12.553. Kevin Magnussen 5th on a 1:12.935. Lewis Hamilton 6th after hitting the wall, now losing a lot of time in completing 8 laps on 1:12.9838. Sergio Perez is 7th on a 1:13.003. Daniel Ricciardo 8th on 1:13.016. Nico Hülkenberg 9th on 1:13.168. And Lance Stroll completing the top 10 on a 1:13.171. Lando Norris is 11th on a 1:13.249. Pierre Gasly 12th on 1:13.345. Max Verstappen 13th on 1:13.388. Alexander Albon is 14th on 1:13.436. Dani Kvyat 15th on 1:13.521. Kimi Raikkonen 16th on 1:13.542. Romain Grosjean 17th on 1:13.598. Antonio Giovinazzi is 18th on 1:14.870. George Russell 19th on 1:15.036. And Robert Kubica 20th on 1:15.287. So, what a Friday we've had in Montreal as well, and it has seen the fact that Mercedes topped the first session, but Ferrari have topped the race runs session with a 1 and a 2. They are fastest overall here. Can they keep that going into tomorrow's free practice 3 session? It should be a close one. You can join us and watch that tomorrow at 8 o'clock. It's going to be filmed after the session, but we've got no internet where we are, so it will be broadcast a lot later than usual, but we'll be back live on Sunday at 4 o'clock for the race preview and the grand review as well next Wednesday. And we've got the full team back this weekend as Megan rejoins us after a little spout of illness in the last 2 races. She's back on board of the commentary team. So a full house for the Canadian Grand Prix, which currently sees Mercedes and Ferrari locked in a battle. Mercedes having Bottas' issue in FP1 with a fuel pressure, Hamilton hitting the wall in FP2. Ferrari seem to be off to a flying start. Can they keep it up? And can we have an interesting Canadian Grand Prix? We'll find out more tomorrow with FP3 and qualifying. It was all here. Goodbye from Canada.